Hello everybody and welcome back to Aether Studios. Today we're going to be creating a brand new game using the 2D platformer series that we've started a couple weeks ago. Now to begin with, what we want to do is create a brand new level. So we're going to go over to our scenes folder. We're going to right click, we're going to create a brand new scene. So I'm going to go over to our scenes right there, and we're going to call this our game scene. So we'll say game level, or actually no, we'll call it level _01. There we go, that works. So we're going to open that up. I'm going to go ahead and press save on that one. We don't really need to, but you know, why not? And what we want to do is first set up the environment. So obviously we're going to need our camera set up, so we're going to go ahead and select our camera. We're going to go over to the add component, and we're going to add our camera script, so camera controller. And we're going to set our speed to 5. For now, we're going to leave our X min and Y min max at their default setting. And our target is equal to nothing right now, so we need to go get that. I'm going to go over to our prefabs folder, and I'm going to drag in my player, just like so. And as you can see, we have our player just sitting around inside the scene. Select our main camera, and drag our player as our target. Great. So now we have a default setup for our environment. The next thing we need to do is we need to figure out exactly how we want our character to be able to play. So for me, I think that we need to make this like a time game. So you need to be able to reach a certain objective within a certain amount of time, and you get more points or more of a higher score for the less amount of time that it takes you to complete the level. On top of that, we'll add in some coins that your player can collect and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and do something like that. So the next thing I want to do is drag in my game manager script as well. I simply grabbed our canvas fade panel and all, and then just made it into a prefab. That way it makes things easy. We're going to create a empty game object, go _world, like so. And inside here, we're going to create a 2D object. So we're just going to sprite square. Go over to our scene view, pull this out a little bit, and we're going to just drag it down. Now for this sprite, I'm going to go and select one of my sprites that I built. So let's go over into our sprites folder, there we go. So custom sprites, we're going to open this up, and let's give this sprite a, ooh, this is going to be tough. Let's go with a brick castle one, so just like so. Now we want to be able to expand this out a little bit. We want to be able to have like this base flat level, because for the first level, we want the character to be able to just hop over certain environments. We don't really want it to be complicated. So let's go and do something like this. We're going to change this from simple to tiled, and let's go 32 wide. Let's see if that'll work. Yep, I like that. So pull that back like so. And we also need to add a box component. So box collider 2D, boom. And make sure that that is 32 wide as well. We also want to be able to add some form of ground layer that our character can actually walk on. So I'm going to duplicate this, and we're going to drag it up a little bit. For this, we don't really need a collider, so we're going to remove that. We're going to call this floor. And we're going to change this sprite to, let's go this one right here. You know, give it a slight different color. It's a little bit too high, so let's go and drop it down to maybe like a 0.5 and do something like that. That looks pretty cool. So if I go over to our game view, as you can see, we now have this really nice setup. Okay, so we have the ability for our character to be able to move back and forth now. But I want to be able to adjust the position of this collider as well, because obviously the character needs to walk on this and not that. So we're going to roll down, and let's go adjust this collider. So we're just going to do something like this, and then just pull it up a little bit. Perfect. So I'm going to combine these two together like so, and let's go and make a duplicate of that. So Control D, and we're just going to drag this over here like so. We'll go something like that maybe. Yeah, that should work. Let's then drag in this sprite right here. Just drop it in there. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to set it to tiled. Let's go, I don't know, maybe 8 white. Drop it there. Make it about 2 high. Drag it down a little bit. And actually, no, I want to pull it up just a tad bit. Now we want to set this inside the background. So we're going to set that as background. And we'll put this order layer as 10. For these squares, we're going to set these as a background as well. We're going to set this as a 12. And we also need to go over inside here, select the floor. And I'm going to do the same thing there. So we're going to go background and 12. Now we'll make those 13 because we want those in front. Okay, so now we need to make sure that our camera will be able to move. So we're currently at 0, so that's good. Then we want to get over to about right here. So 53 is our max, so 53. All right, bring it back to the beginning. We're gonna hit play and let's see what we got so far. Now I forgot to add the damage script to the, it's coming to me, to the lava. So we're not gonna die whenever we hit it. So we will adjust that in a minute. Okay, so our character is able to move, which is great. And he's able to hop. Great. Oh, and he just died. Cool. All right, so we're going to select this now. Let's go ahead and add in our damage area. And we're also going to add in a box collider, 2D, not just a box collider. So box collider 2D. Set is trigger. Cannot see because of this. That's okay though. And we want to be able to also set the size. So 8:2 is the size. So 8:2. Nice. Okay. So we now have the ability to get our character to spawn where we need it to be. We got the environment set up for the first level. And now we need to be able to decide how to make the character go to the next level, right? So for the next level, let's go ahead and create that real fast. So we're going to go over to our scenes folder. We're going to duplicate level 1. So Control D should be it. And we're going to call this just level 2. Or we can actually just go level 1, 1, and then level 1, 2. That might work out a lot better. After decides to finish updating, because you know. Okay, so we'll say level 01 underscore, actually we'll say level underscore 1 underscore 1. Reload, yeah, sure. And then we'll call this level underscore 1 underscore 2. There we go. So we're going to open up that level, and since we duplicated it, it's going to give us the ability to have everything that we had. And what I want to do here is we want to take this second square, and we're just going to drag it over here like so. So let's pull that down a little bit, and we want to grab both of these. I do it in caps locks. Drop that down. And let's change the size. So maybe 16, 20, 10, 5. Okay, 5 looks good. And for the size, we're going to have to do these individually because we don't want the top to change. We just want the bottom to change. So we're going to drag this down a little bit and then drag the floor up a bit. So for the height, let's go with a 5, yeah, that works. And we don't want this floor right here, so we'll adjust that as well. But let's just drag that down like so. Then we need to make sure we adjust the collider. So boom. And this is a 5 wide tile. Should be 5 high. And then we're just going to adjust it a little bit. So just pull it up just like so. The next thing that we need to do is we need to grab this walkable area. Actually, we need to also pull that down a little bit like so, because we don't want the character to walk through that. For this, we really just need to pull this back, like right there. Then grab our floor for this, and then just adjust the position of it. So this needs to be a -5 from 32 would be a 27 if I'm correct. So now we're just going to drag that back like so. Nice, okay. So this just needs to drop down now. Boom. Okay, so we have that hop up, which is great. We need to be able to get to that hop up. And there's a couple different ways that we could do this. We could add like a double jump inside here, but I don't really feel like doing that at the moment. Why not? Why not? You know what? We're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to find our player script. So scripts, controllers, players. Actually, I think I already pulled it open. Yeah, nice. Okay, so we're going to go into our player script, and we want to be able to give ourselves an extra jump. Actually, we could probably create that as a skill. See, this is one thing that you got to do whenever you are working on these things. You need to make sure that you keep your focus good. Okay, let's see. So we could go with that. I don't know. You know what? This is what we'll do. So we have the get button jump. We're going to do this same thing right here. So we're going to say Control X here. Then we're going to say if, Control V. Then we're going to do this. Else, if, and we need to create a variable called jumps. And for now, we're going to just make this serialized as well. So we're going to go serialized field, a private int called jumps, which is going to be equal to 2 as a default. We're going to roll down. We're going to say if jumps is greater than 1. Then we're going to say jumps minus minus, like so. And let's see, yeah, so this will just reset us like we need to. And we will also want to grab this, Control C, Control V, boom. So now we're able to hop, if we're not falling. And then what do we want to do? We also want to come up here. We're going to say jumps minus minus right there, actually. No. We're going to put jumps minus minus here because you are using a jump right here. And then you're going to be using a jump right here if you hop again. Okay, that works. So we're going to say get button down instead of just get button. There we go. And then whenever we land, so right here, so if on trigger stay, if not is falling, return, blah, blah, blah. And let's see, where do we want to put this? In fact, we could just create a private void called reset jump. And we're going to say jumps is equal to 2, which I actually don't like hard coding that. So in fact, we're going to actually go down here, private int called cur jumps. And then in void start, we're going to say cur jumps is equal to jumps, like so. Then we'll replace this with cur jumps. And replace that with cur jumps. And replace that with cur jumps. Roll in here. Cur jumps is equal to jumps. And then we're also going to say is falling is equal to false. So now we could just simply say reset jump. And right here, let me make sure I did that right. If is falling is equal to true. No, if is falling is equal to false. That's where we want it to be. Reset jump. And reset jump. Okay, so that should give us the ability to double jump. And we're going to double check that because we can. And hopefully everything works out the way we intended it to. Normally, that's not how it works. This is just coming from a game developer. These things happen. But we're going to hope for the best, and yeah. Now what I probably should have done as well is reset the velocity of the character whenever you add this jump, because right now it's going to add the current velocity to, well, you know, the current velocity. So we'll see if that works the way it's intended to be. Okay, so I'm going to hit play. Yeah, I know, Unity. Dang, she is taking her time. Goodness, girl. Okay, here we are. So we can hop once, and then we grab my player real fast. I want to debug this. Go and close that up. And we're going to change it to debug mode so I can see how many jumps I got. Okay, so it's not allowing us to do our second jump. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll up here. And yeah, you know what? We're just going to do it this way. We're going to just say, boom. Control V. And is falling is equal to true. Like so. So now we should be able to hop. And if it's greater than or equal to 1. Yeah, that should work. Because we don't really care so much if we're falling or if we're not falling now, because we have a variable which will determine whether or not we're going to be able to jump. So we're just going to keep that in mind. Here we go. Let's hit play again. Yeah. All right, here we are. Nice, so we can now double jump. A little jittery there, though. It's probably because our character's moving a little too fast, but that's okay. We also need to make sure our character can't move off the environment over there. But we'll get to that in a second. Make sure this is working. All right, perfect. So this sort of teaches the player that you can double jump, which is great. Maybe we should add a dash inside here. That'd be super cool too. So what we'll do, we're going to go over here, and we could, no, this is just a thought. We could go and create an input for this inside of the project, or we can create a key, a public key here. Yeah, I think we'll create a public key here. So we're going to come down here, plug that in like so, and let's create this public key. So I'm going to do this. make a header, call it inputs. Then we're going to create a public key code, and we're going to call this dash skill. And I actually want that to be a lowercase s, and we're going to make that equal to keycode.left shift as a default. Okay, so that's our input. And let's also come up here. We're going to create a serialized field. Boom. Private float called dash force. And we're going to make that equal to 12 as well. And we're also going to create a serialized field. Private int called dashes, which is going to be equal to 1. And then we're going to go down here. And we're just going to do a comma. And we're going to say cur dashes, like so. For the cur dashes, we're going to say cur dashes is equal to dashes in our void start function. Then we're going to roll down and we're going to create a brand new input. So close that. Good, 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 good. And yeah, this should work right here. So we'll go here, dash, we're going to say if input.get key down. Oh, I didn't spell input right. Input.get key down. And we're going to just plug in our input. So let's go up here, dash skill, like so. So if we use this skill, we want to be able to say, okay, is the dash count greater? So we're going to also do this, and cur dashes is greater than 0. Now we'll say greater than or equal to 1. That way it's a lot more safer, in my opinion at least. So if that is the case, we're going to go ahead and just copy this right here. We're just going to go Control-C, Control-V. Then we're going to say cur dashes minus minus, boom. And rb.velocity, we're going to add our dash force right here. So dash force, and we're going to change it to rb.velocity.y. So now we have the ability to dash. We need to be able to also reset this ability. So to reset this ability, we're going to need to create some form of function that just automatically resets it. So let's do that. So on the reset, we're just going to create a private void called reset dash. And for this, we're going to say cur dashes is equal to dashes, like so. Now to be able to set this up when it runs at a certain amount of time to reset, we need to go up to the top here, and let's do this. We're going to serialize field, private float called reset time, dash underscore reset time. And we'll make that equal to like, I don't know, 0.5 seconds. Then we're going to go down here to our dash skill. And we're just going to say, what is the word that I'm looking for? Invoke. There we go. So we want to invoke this method. So we're going to go over here, reset dash. So boom. Reset dash, and for the time we're going to say reset time. So let's dash reset time. So now this is going to activate every single time that we press this button, and it's greater than 1. Okay, so let's go ahead, head back over into Unity, and we're going to see what happens. Now for people that are playing the game for the first time, these are things that you'll have to learn along the way, which means that the first beginning levels that we design are going to be designed for those types of players. So the next obstacle that we would need to add is something for the dash. We would also need to add some form of environment for the player to be able to see it. But let's go ahead and test it out real fast and make sure everything is working the way it needs to. Okay. So if we press the shift key, okay, we don't have any form of movement. Okay, so I'm going to go grab our player real fast. We're going to take a look at our debug. And let's see. So our current dashes is equal to 1. If I press down the shift key, it does use it, but then it doesn't do anything with it. So let's change our dash force to something like 30. Okay. So it's not giving us that boost, which is what we want. Let's go ahead and see why. Because the reset time is working the way we want it to, but the dash itself, our dash force is not working the way we want it to. Okay, so our dash force is only activating, so we needed to also take into account the direction that our character is moving to. So let's look at our, so we're going to say dash force multiplied by our current direction. So we're going to say, where is our input? Let me take a look at that real fast. So it would be underneath xdir. There we go. So multiplied by xdir. Okay, I think that might solve the problem. Maybe. I always like to stay positive. All right, here goes nothing. We're going to hit play now. Boom. All right, here we go. So it doesn't seem to add any form of force. So let's go over to our player. And let's try to increase the dash force to something like 150. Okay, how many dashes do we got? Current dash is equal to 0. So it's not adding any form of force whatsoever. So maybe if we take our rb.velocity .x plus our dash force multiplied by xdir, that may work. Yeah, let's try that out. There's like so many things that you got to take into account whenever it comes down to the programming in and of itself. I don't know if this is going to work though with the dash, but you won't know until you try it. All right, so we have our reset at 0.5 seconds. So I think the reset's pretty good. It's not too fast, but it's not too slow at the moment. Okay, so let's change the dash force up. Let's go 2000. Oh no, there is a dash there, but it just isn't where I want it to be. Let's do some astronomical numbers here. Okay. So the dash doesn't seem to be working the way I want it to, but since it's not working, we're just going to go ahead and erase it. We may work on that later on. You live, you learn, you know? So we're just going to erase that right there. Boom. And boom. All right. It never existed. Cool. Okay, so we do got 2 levels currently. We need to be able to switch. Okay, I guess I left it somewhere. Oh, okay, yeah. Boom. Now it never existed. All right, so we do have 2 levels, which is great. We now need to be able to connect them as well. I also want to finish up this level because obviously it's not complete. So for that, I think we need to add some form of background. And we also need to add in some form of exit. So let's do something like that. The first thing I want to do, I want to copy this. And we're just going to drag this right here and drag this up. Boom. We're going to go over to the squares, change that back into our normal mode. And we're going to change the height up to about, give or take, 10, 20 maybe? No, 15, yeah. Then we'll just drag this down a little bit, like so. And change the height to about 15. Then we're going to grab our floor. Just drag that up a little bit. And adjust that collider just a tad bit. Okay, so now that's set up, which is great. And we also want to scale this out a little bit. So we'll just pull that like so. Okay. So now that's done there. Let's go ahead and set up where our camera is going to move to. So boom, 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 boom. We want them to stop right there. So 20.75. So 20.75. Okay, cool. The last thing I want to do as well is I'm going to duplicate this and then just drag this over here so the player can't get past this area. There we go. And we also want to there we go. Okay. I just didn't like how that floor was overlapping, which means that we can actually drop the main camera back to about a negative 0.05. Perfect. The last thing I want to do with this individual level, besides of course adding in the exit portal, we want to add in some form of background. So I could use just a default background, but I feel like we need to add... Actually, you know what? We're going to use the default background. Why not? So go over to your camera. We're going to change this to a solid color. And let's just, I don't know, give it some form of dark color. Go over to our game view to see it. I don't know why, but I'm feeling like we need some form of... There we go. I like that. I like that. So 14, 14, 20. We're going to hit Control S, go over to our first level. So scenes. Grab our main camera. Solid color. 14, 14, 20. Boom. Okay, so we now have our scene. We have the environment set up. We do need to set up the colliders over here. So drag that into our world. Let's just create some form of 2D object, sprite, square. Drag that over, add a box collider. And we'll just scale this up like so. We don't really have the player seeing this one, so it's no biggie if we just put it in here like so. Yeah, there we go. We're just gonna duplicate that and then just drag that over here. Oh, yeah, just drag that over. All right, perfect. So now we have the level set up to where our player can move around and, of course, hit up these areas. The next thing that we need to do is set up the ability to move to a different area. Now, currently, we don't really have any form of image to be able to display an exit point, so I'm just going to make some using, of course, just a square brick. So 2D object, sprite, square, boom. Just going to roll in, change this into a tile set. We're going to change the height to about 2.5 and the width to about 1.5. And that looks good. We can have it sit in front. We can have it sit in back. It doesn't really matter. We'll put this as default just because I feel like it. And we're going to just drag this over here. Boom, boom. Nice. All right, so for this script, we're going to go over to our interactions. We're going to create a brand new script, C#, and we're going to call this our exit portals. Like so. Now, the exit portals are simply going to be using the game manager as a way of basically moving us to the next level. So we're going to close that down, open up our Solution Explorer, and we're going to find our exit portal. Nice. Now for the exit portal, we're going to be using an onTrigger event. So onTrigger, or void onTrigger, enter 2D. And we're going to say if collision dot game object dot tag is equal to player. Then we're going to grab our game manager dot instance dot, and we want to activate a function. So we're going to go over to our game manager, and we need to add a couple things to this. The first thing we need to add is using Unity Engine dot scene management, like so. Now, scene management allows us to be able to utilize Unity's built-in level transition system. So that's the reason why we're using that. Now we're going to create a public void called load level. And for this level, we're just going to, let's actually make this a string. So string new level. Then we're going to say scene manager. Oh, that's not scene manager. Scene manager dot load scene, and we're going to plug in our new level, like so. Now, obviously, we're going to need the new level inside of Unity, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But yeah, that should work. Okay, now I know what you're thinking. Why aren't we using the async load level? It works in various different situations. Personally, I don't really like using it, but you can if you feel like it. Now, we also want to add in the fade, so we're going to come over here. We're going to say fade dot play, and for this play, we want it to fade in. Actually, no, fade out. Yeah. So fade out, like so. Make sure I did actually spell it right. Yeah, I should have spelled it right. Okay, so we want it to fade out, but then we also want it to actually transition before we do that. So we're going to actually invoke. So let's do a private void called change scene, like so. And we're just going to actually just Control X that, Control V that, plug in this new level, like so. Then we're going to, actually no, we'll just do this. Invoke, and we're going to do our change level. So change level, like so. And we want the time to be about 0.5 seconds. Or 0.5 seconds should work. But we also need this new level. So we're going to actually create this as a private. So private string called new level. Roll down here. And we're going to say this level. And new level is equal to this level. There we go. We need to just plug that in before, like so. Okay, hard stuff done. Nice. Let's go back to our exit portal now, and we're going to say .load level. And for this level, we need to put a public string. So public string called level to load, to load. And actually, I want to make that private string. We'll just serialize it. That way we can see it, but nobody else has access to it. And then we'll just put level to load. Okay, nice. So now our exit portal should be working. We just need to add some form of trigger collider on there, and it will be perfect. So we're going to give it a name as well. That way we can make a prefab out of it and put it inside of our other level. Oh, man. Sorry, guys. I had a busy day at work, so I've been a little bit exhausted. Okay, I think it's about ready. So grab this square. We're going to rename it Portal. We're going to just hide that. I don't really care so much about that right now. We're going to add a Box Collider 2D. And let's go ahead and just scale it up to the size of this. So we need size at 1.5 and 2.5. Make sure that is set as is trigger. And then we're going to add our exit portal on there. For the level to load, since this is level 1.1, we're going to call this level _1_2, like so. So it's nice. Now for these levels to actually load up, we need to go over to our build settings. So press File, go over to Build Settings, and what you're going to need to do is add the scenes. So we're going to add level 1. We're going to add level 2, and we're going to remove this one like so. And the way that these levels are going to load is from 0 up and down, or up. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. So this will be the first level that's loaded. So keep that in mind. All right, so now since we have that done, I'm going to hit Control S. We're going to go over to our level 1.1. Oh, that's it, is level 1.1. Go over to our level 1.2, and we're going to add in our portal. Actually, I forgot to save it as a prefab. Okay, so select our prefab folder, drag our portal in here, like so. Now we can go over to our scenes, go over to level, save, yes. Level 1.2, go over to our prefabs folder. We're going to just drag that in there like so. And we need to give this a name as well. So, and also, we need to set where our camera can go here. So let's say our camera can go right about there. So 26.25, boom. 26.25. And 7 high. Oh. 7 high. Perfect. Okay. Now for this exit right here, we don't really have a place where we want it to go at the moment. So we're just going to make that level 1, 1. So we just return back to the original level. Okay. So everything should be the way I want it to. So we're going to go back over here. We're going to hit play and watch some magic work. This magic's pretty special, isn't it? Look at that, look at that. Okay, so we're running. Boom. Fade in. Change level could not be called. Okay. So we need to figure out why change level couldn't be called. So game manager, change level. Oh, change scene. Okay, yeah. I accidentally spelled that wrong. Hit Control S, go back over here. Yeah, you got to make sure that you pay attention to how you spell things inside of programming. I'm terrible at it. I've been doing this for years, so just keep that in mind. You can make some small mistakes pretty easily. So we're going to hit this play button again. Let's go. Okay. I need to adjust my position. I'm getting some cramps. Yeah, feels good. Nice. All right, so here we go. We got that jump. Boom. Nice, we're in. Let's go, let's go. And we should be back to level 1. If we die, we return. Nice. All right, so we now have the ability to transition between levels, which is great. The next thing that we need to do is add in something to where we can visually see the scores that we collected, of course, the time limits, all that good stuff. So let's create a UI. So on the UI, we're going to go over to our canvas, go over to game view. And on the canvas, since this is already a prefab and it's set up inside the other one as well, we don't really have to edit much. So we're just going to add a UI panel. And this is going to be the HUD. Yeah, that should work. Now for the HUD, we really don't want anything to be visually seen with the background. So we're just going to drop the alpha down to 0. We're going to keep the image there so we can keep the rect transform locked in. The next thing I want to do is we want to get a timer. So we're going to go UI text. Actually, we're going to call this, yeah, this will be our timer. So we're going to say timer, and the timer needs to be at the top right corner. We're going to set our pivot point to 1, which means the right side of the screen. And let's go over to our scene view so we can see this a little easier. Let's center that. Let's give ourselves 320 seconds, sort of like the original Super Mario Bros. We're going to set it as bold and go best fit. So boom, let's see how it looks. All right, it's just too close to the top, I think. So we're going to give, oh, that's the reason why. So make sure we set the Y offset to 1. No. Should we have it at 0? Yeah. So negative, let's do negative 20. That should work. And I think the height needs to be about 60 actually. So there we go. Control D. This is going to be called our score. And we just want it on the opposite side. So boom, like so. Change our pivot point to 0. And there we go. Give ourselves a score of 0, 0, 0. Make sure this is on the left. So then it's going to move right. And for our widths, we're going to set this to about 3,000 is too big. Okay, yeah. let's go. Debating on this one. Let's go with a 300 maybe? 500. Yeah, 500 looks good. We also want to take this off the top. So pivot point needs to be on the top. Yeah, so we need that at 1, -20, and then 20 over. With our timer, we also need to go -20 over, and then put this, go from that side. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. So, is there anything else that we're missing? Oh, we also need the level. So we're gonna, like so, call this the level title. And this one needs to be centered, like so. And let's do this one with a width of 300 maybe? Oh, we also need the pivots at a 0.5 for our X. Our heights, maybe like 80, 100. There we go. That looks nice. Okay, so we have that. We have that. I don't think that this is big enough, so maybe... okay, 60. And change the heights down to 75 maybe. Yeah, that'll work. -10 maybe. Okay, yeah. All right, so now since we have that, let's go ahead and set up the... this thing will automatically populate with a name. We could set it to run inside of the game manager and have it load the name itself. Or we don't have to. We could manually update that. You know what? We're gonna automate this. Yeah, I think it'll make things easier in the long run. So let's create a new header inside here. So header. We're gonna call this our user interface. I could have just gone with HUD, but that's okay. And we want to create a public text. Like so. No, I just want text. Oh, and we're not using what we need to use. So go over here. We're going to say using Unity Engine.ui. Then we're going to say public text now. And we'll call this our timer. Public text. Call this our score. Public text. I cannot spell. And we'll call this our level title. So our level title is going to be pretty easy. We want to set this up here, so we're going to say level title dot text is going to be equal to our scene manager dot get scene. Actually, we just need get active scene, yeah. And we'll say dot name. So that should give us the name of our level. Now, currently our levels are set with underscores. Unfortunately, we're just going to leave it like that for now because we do want to automate it. That's just how we're going to keep it for now. All right, so our level title is set up. We also need to do our scores. So for our scores, we're going to serialize these as well. So let's make a header. And we're going to call this game details. So We're going to serialize this. So serialize field, make it a private timer, or game time actually. So game underscore time is equal to 320 seconds. Oh, and this needs to be an int. And then we also need a serialized field. This is going to be a private int. We're going to call this game score, which is equal to 0. Now, for our score, we could just go with a 0 number, or we could have it set to where it just adds to this long number. You know, we're going to keep it like this for now. It's fine. It is fine. So, yeah, that looks good. And of course, we could have it save over time if we really felt like it, but we're going to just have each individual level do their own thing. All right, so we have our game score, game time, and we just want to update these on update. So void update. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. We're just going to say our timer is equal, or timer.text is equal to our game time dot toString. And we're going to do the same thing with our score. So we're going to say score dot text is equal to our game score dot toString. Now currently we have nothing to do with updating our score at the moment, but we will get to that in a minute. So we have these things updating now, but what I want to do is I want to be able to set it up to where our timer will drop or increment every single second. So there's several different ways we could do this. I personally find this the easiest way to do it. So we're going to say score dot, or score, we're going to say minus minus, or not score, game score, minus minus, or minus equals time dot, and let's go with, I want to make sure that we choose the right one here. It's not time. Let's go with I mean, we could go with an unscaled delta time, which wouldn't be too bad. Yeah, let's go unscaled delta time. And we want to transfer this into a integer. So we need to round this. So we're going to create a float called cur time, or a second, which is equal to time dot or actually we're going to say mathf dot round, and we're going to just put in, actually no, time dot unscaled time, and then we'll come over here and we'll just put in our second. So mathf dot round. Okay, so it doesn't want us to do that, which I see why, because it's giving us this time.unscaled. So we can try something like this maybe. Okay, so it doesn't want us to do that. The question would be, if we subtract a certain amount of time from this, we want to display it as, I get it. Hold on. So we want to be able to decrease the amount of time that we have. So we're going to say game time minus equals time dot delta time. right? So we're going to change the game time to a float. Then what we want to do is we want to make it display as a positive number, or actually unscaled. Yeah, unscaled. So then we want it to display as just a rounded number. So we're going to say timer.text, or no, not timer.text. Yeah, okay. So that's the way we want it to. We just got this out of order. Boom, boom. Do the subtract first. Then we need to come over here, and we don't want to actually run this one right here. So game underscore display time. And we're going to say is equal to, and we're going to go mathf.round, and we're going to put game underscore time. And this needs to be a float. And then we'll just take that. .toString. Okay, so that should work with that. Gonna come over here. Yeah. Hopefully this will decrease by 1 second every single frame. I'm thinking we may switch it back over to time.delta time, which will adjust by frame rate. But I'm not sure at the moment. So we'll have to see. We will have to see. So I'm going to hit the play button. Let's rock and roll. I'll tell you though, the loading time on the new Unity sucks in comparison to the older one. Like, it is the weirdest thing. All right, so we now have this. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. Let me pause you. Oh, duh. Grab our timer, drop that there, score there, and level there. Clear that out. And then apply all. Hit play. So our title should change immediately. And so should our title. Or our title and our timer should change. Okay, perfect. Now, as you can see, our timer is a little bit off, but I want to double check our level, make sure that that is transitioning properly. Nice. So that did transition the way I wanted it to. Okay. So our timer is the only thing that we need to worry about. It is going with just positive numbers, which is great. The problem is that it's going too fast. So time.delta time multiplied by 60. So that should give us every single second. We could do an invoke method, which will be called once every single second, and then we could just drop it using that. That might be the more convenient method, but we'll see if I like this one. I'm a little bit scared at the moment. A little bit scared. What was it? Okay, so it is dropping a little too fast, but it is dropping, so that's good. Let's go with a multiply by 10. I should make this a public variable, so I don't have to go to my I don't have to go to the script every single time. But I'm lazy. That's what we do. Okay, so the time is dropping. I don't really mind it dropping like it is. Good, we have that stop. And of course, we need a penalty for whenever the character hits, like if it hits 0, it should reset the level. So let's do that. We're gonna roll down here, and we're gonna say if game time is less than or equal to 0, then instead of doing this, we're going to say load level. And for the load level name, we need to get the string of this level. So we're going to just copy this right here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, that should work. So to test this out, we're actually going to drop the amount of time that it takes for us to run this level. So I probably should have also dropped the timer to like 1, but for now, I am not too worried about it. We can always edit those values later. So I'm going to grab my game manager, and we're going to drop the amount of time for this level, because it is a pretty small level. So let's go ahead and drop it down to, I don't know, 60 seconds. That's really short, but that should work. Override, apply all, hit play. And what we're testing here is if the timer hits 0, then we want the level to reload. We want it to reset and basically have our character start back over. So here we go. We're at 30 seconds, 20, 10, 0. Perfect. Now the display is dropping down to less than that. So what we're going to do down here is we want to clamp this game display time. So we're going to say game display time. So boom. Game display time is equal to mathf.clamp 0 and, I don't know, mathf.infinity. And we need to also plug in our there we go. So now we're no longer going to have to deal with that issue as well. All right, I like where this is going right now. I like where this is going. Hit play again. Now, for this individual test, like I said, we're just going to try to make sure that it hits 0 and then it stops at 0. We could have it to where our character freezes, which is something that we do need to consider. But for now, I'm not too worried about it. So there we go. We'll reset. Awesome. So we're going to be moving to the next level. Boom. Oh, just in time. No, it didn't do it just in time. Goodness. Come on. We got this. Okay, so it's not giving us enough time. So let's go over to Game Manager. We're going to give ourselves, I don't know, let's give ourselves 100 seconds. And that should work there. Okay, so the last thing that we need to do is add in some form of coin that you can collect to give yourself more score. Now the score shouldn't be recorded on the game manager itself. It should be set to a different script that carries over for every single level. That way it doesn't reset every time. But since this is just a video where we're creating something very quick, I'm not going to do or create that. We're just going to work with it here. So for our game score, we're just going to create a public void called add score. Boom. Or, yeah, add score. For this, we're going to say int value. And then we're going to say score plus equals value. So if we add a negative value inside there, then it's going to give us, or game score. Yeah. If you add a negative value inside there, then it's going to give a negative value here and it will take away score. So you can utilize this any way you want to. So we're going to go over to our project panel again. We're going to create a C# script for interactables. And this interactable is going to be a coin. Like I said, most of the stuff that we're going to be using is repetitive. So we're going to be using the onTrigger enter function again. And yeah, so let's grab our scripts, go to interactions, right click, create a C# script. And we're going to call, what do we want to call this? Coin. Yeah, that should work. Now we could compile all this into one script. Like basically set up a enum, which allows us to switch between each one of these different types of scripts, and then we could just call an action using that. But I don't really want to do that at the moment. So we may get to that inside the future. Who knows? So we want to create a void on trigger enter 2D if collision.gameObject.tag is equal to player. Boom. For this, we're going to grab our game manager.instance.add score, and let's create a serialized field, private int called amount, and then just plug in amount. All right, so that script is taken care of. Nice. Come back over here. Now for the coin itself, the graphics, we really don't need anything fancy at the moment. Obviously, we could make something really nice, but for now, I think we're just going to stick with something basic. So we're going to right click inside of the hierarchy. Actually, before we do that though, we're going to grab our game manager and override, apply all, boom. Okay. So close that, make sure that all those are good. Okay, cool. Actually, I do want to override. Good. And override. Good. All right, so 2D object, sprites, circle. Let's see where that is. So 0, 0. Let's give it like a yellowish color. So something like that. Yeah, that looks good. And we want to drop the scale down a little bit. And let's give it a circle collider 2D. Inside here, just make sure you set it as is trigger, check your scene, and make sure that it surrounds this entire object. Great. Okay, so the last thing we need to do is add our coin script on here. And we're going to say each one of these is worth 100 points. So Control S. And just rename it as coin. Make a prefab of it. Doop-a-doop-a-doo-doo-doo. Now, typically speaking, what you'd want to do is create an empty game object that this object is connected to. And that way you can animate this object. But like I said, for now, we're not too worried about it. We're just going to drag these in the scene, place them around, call it good. So, boom. Let's do something like this. And we'll just copy those. I know, too many coins, guys, too many coins. Hit Control S, go over to our scene, go to level 2, grab our prefab, I'm going crazy with these things, I tell you. Okay, so let's go back over to our scenes. We technically could go from this scene, but let's hit play. Yeah. Now what we're hoping for is that our score will update whenever we're inside this level. So our score is at 0. We're collecting, but the object stays put, which is a problem. So we're just going to go back over to our script, and we're going to say destroy game object. Boom. And we could add like a particle system afterwards, like have it spawn it and then destroy that object after, maybe like a second or two. But like I said, we're just throwing together a base game, and because I know this video is already going to be like super long. So yeah, I don't want to take too much time. Okay, so here we go. Hit that play button. We're gonna rock. Boom, boom. I know, I get it. I'm weird. It's a thing, man. It's a thing. All right, so we collect these objects. Nice. Boom. Ooh, that wasn't cool. Ooh. I'm terrible at my own game. Nice. Perfect. So we now have the ability to collect items, which is great. The one thing that we are missing, though, is we're missing music. Because obviously you need a game with good music. Otherwise it sucks. So let's do this. Right. So we're going to go over to our managers. We're going to create a C# script. And this is going to be called our consistent settings. Actually, you know when I said earlier that I wasn't going to do this? We're doing it. So we're going to open this up. Gosh darn it. So actually what we need to do here is we're going to create a singleton. So singleton. Boom. Oh. No, I want hashtag region. And then we're going to call this singleton. There we go. So we're going to make a public static. And we're going to say consistent settings. So we're going to call these instance. Void awake. And we're going to say instance is equal to this, like so. So now we don't want this to be destroyed, so on void start, don't destroy on load. So now this object will not be destroyed, so like so. Nice. So on this object, like I said, we want our coin system to be stored on here. So instead of us putting this here, which is our game score, we actually want this game score pulled from our consistent settings. So we're going to create a public game score, or public int. No, int, called game underscore score. Now you should program this a lot better to where you're no longer going to be displaying this or setting this as a public. But since this is not going to be released to the public and all, I don't really have to worry too much about it. Well, it might be released to the public. Just, it's not going to be making money, so it doesn't really matter so much. Okay, so we're going to go over to our game manager, and all we're going to do is we're going to just change this around. So we're just going to remove that there, hit Control S, see where it says right here, and we're just going to plug this in. So we're going to say consistent settings.instance dot game score. And we'll just copy that right there and plug that in right there. Boom. So now we have the ability to update our score without it being destroyed. Okay, so that should be good. I think that we got everything working there. We also need to add our audio. And I'm not sure if I actually downloaded any audio yet. So we're going to do that in a minute. Maybe a minute, who knows? All right. Also, I want to grab all these items and put them inside the world object, because it bugs me whenever I see all this stuff that's just populating the environment or scene. Okay, so let's create a empty. And we're going to call this settings. Reset the position, and then we're going to add the consistent settings right there. Game score is equal to 0. We only need one of these because, like I said, it's going to spawn in here. We can always set this up to where it destroys itself if there's another one that's inside the scene, but for now, we're not worried about it. All right, so we got that. We need to add an audio source, so audio source. Boom. Play on awake, loop, yes. Now we need to get some music. And like I said, I don't think I got any music here, so we're going to go over to our package manager. We're going to go over to filter, and let's go audio. And let's see what we got here. We want something good, I think. 140 retro game sounds. You know what? That sounds like it's pretty good. We'll go import. We also want some form of music, like I said, to be able to enhance the gameplay feel. So we're going to go with the 16-bit, because I can. That should take maybe a couple seconds. Hopefully it'll only take a couple seconds. I know normally what happens is that it doesn't. Oh, I did it. Okay, cool. That makes me feel good. All right, let's see. What do we want to use? All. Some of these are not music. Okay, let's go with this one right here. It looks like it's good. So we're going to hit that import. See what's up. Come on. This might actually be a pretty big file, it looks like. 390, is it 396? Okay. Yeah. Dang, 10 files too? Well, that's awesome. Alright, so we'll go ahead and press the import button. Boom. We're getting there, guys. We are getting there. We're just so close to finishing this up. Now, obviously, we don't have like a menu system or anything like that, but we do got 2 levels that are playable. We got the base game loop done. Now we're just adding in the pretties. Oh, well, while we got this time on our hands, I do want to say that if you guys are interested inside specific types of videos, feel free to leave those inside the comments below. It does help me create content for you guys, especially targeted content. I am going to start a 3D series pretty soon. It's going to be really awesome. It's basically a series based off of a game that I really enjoy playing. It's a secret, though. I'm not going to tell you yet. But it's going to be really fun. We're going to be doing our own rendition off of it. So, yeah, it's going to be an awesome time. So I can't wait to start it. But, yeah, it's... All right, come on now. We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Huh. You know when you just start looking at some of the older packs that you bought and you're like, wow, that was so awesome back in the day. Okay, there we go. So let's go and find the action music. We're going to see what these things sound like. I like the Flaming Soul. That was actually pretty awesome. So we're going to go over to our settings and let's drag our Flaming Soul right there. Come on. Drop on there. Drop on there. There we go. There we go. We do want to drop the volume down, maybe like a 0.05 and 1.25 on our pitch. Yeah. We also want to make noise whenever we pick up like a coin. So let's go over to our world, select a coin. We're going to add an audio source like that. We don't want it to play on awake. Let's find that. Oh, that's cute. Ooh, that's nice. I think we're going with the cute sonar. So let's grab our coin, drop the cute sonar on there, and we're going to override this. Apply all. Go back into our scripts, find our coin. We're going to create a private audio source. Audio source, yeah. Call it odd, void start, odd is equal to get component, audio source. Then whenever we do this, we're going to just say odd.play, and then we need to destroy it after a certain amount of time. So let's just say odd.clip.length. Okay, hopefully that runs well. I always add the word hopefully inside there because I know that there's like a 80% chance that it's not going to work the way that I'm thinking it's going to work, and a 20% chance that it's most likely going to mess up. But we'll see. All right, we're going to make sure that this coin is overridden. Yes, it is. Press play. And hopefully that coin's not too loud, too, because I just realized that I did not adjust the volume on that. Yeah, it's probably going to be extremely loud. Guys, cover your ears. Just like this. All right, so we got the music. Good. It's a little bit too slow on the destruction. But when we re-enter this level, it gave us 2 settings. So what we're going to have to do, I know I said I wasn't going to do it, but we're going to have to do it. So we're going to say if, or we're going to do a consistent settings, call it settings search is equal to find object of type consistent settings. Then we're going to say if settings search is not equal to this, then destroy. Settings search dot game object. Else and let's do this. Okay, so that should work. Let's try to see if that does work. I normally don't like playing around with those types of settings because they get a little iffy. But we'll see. We'll see. Hit play. Actually, there is another way we could do it. Yeah, I'm going to do that next if this doesn't work. I should have probably done that the first time. Oh well. Let's go over here. Nope, it destroyed it. Okay. So, what we need to do is boom, boom. Do something like this. If instance is equal to null, then instance is equal to this, else, oh no, wrong thing. Destroy game object. And boom, boom. All right, so just to walk you through this, what we're saying is we need to find out if this consistent settings is equal to anything. If it's not equal to something, then we're going to make it equal to this object. Otherwise, well, and we're also going to make sure we don't destroy this object. Otherwise, we're going to destroy this object. It's one of those things to where it's just like a double check. Really useful. I should have used it the first time, but you know, here's what it is. And I feel like the coin, let me go over to our prefabs. We need to drop the sound of the coin, I think. Let me drag this over here so I can actually see that a lot easier. Yeah, there we go. So we need to lower the pitch of the coin. Yeah, that should work. Let's just drag that back over there. Okay, so we're going to hit play. And we want to make sure that there's only one settings every single time that we run this first level. Perfect. Now we just need to get the timer on those coins to slow down a little bit. All right, or to speed up a little bit on the coin time. So we need to go clip.length minus, oh, let's just say 5 multiplied by time.delta time. Oh no, that's seconds. Well, let me see. Time multiplied. We'll try that out actually, because 5 multiplied by time.delta time is 5 multiplied by the frame rate. So it could be 5 multiplied by 60, or it could be 5 multiplied by 30. So let's try that out. You should never hard code this, by the way. You should always make it a variable so it's faster to update and change. But yeah, I'm a little bit terrible. It's a bad habit, I know, but I just do what I do. Okay, so we are in. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's still really slow. So let's actually drop the time. So we're gonna just do destruction time is equal to 0.2f. No, 0.1f. We want to hear the sound, but we don't want it to. We don't want it to actually last. Which what we could do is just add a particle system that spawns afterwards, so it's not attached to the visuals. But like I said, I don't want to get into that right now. It's already getting late as is. All right, here it goes. It is a little fast now. Okay. So how do we want to address this issue? What we could do is make this as a audio source on the player and then have it play from the player's perspective. So whenever, or we could play it from the settings instead. So let's remove that from the prefab. Then we're going to go over to the settings. We're going to add an audio source. So let's like so. Sonar. Drop our pitch down to maybe a 0.8 this time. And volume, I guess volume was good. Play on awake is false. Go over to our consistent settings. We're going to do this right here. So let's do a public audio source. And we're going to call it coin odd audio. Then what we'll do, coin, we're going to destroy immediately, but instead of grabbing the game manager or just grabbing this odd right here so we can actually erase that and erase that, we're going to grab the consistent settings.instance dot score, or no, coin audio, and then we're going to just play it from there. So now that should work. I think that should work. Because we'll get the instant reaction of the coins disappearing, and we'll also have the sound effects from the game settings, and it will reset the sound whenever you press play again. So in other words, it'll sound like you have an overlap even though you don't. Okay, so we're going to hit play. Come on, baby. Cross my fingers. Cross my fingers. Let's go. Error while getting products updated. I don't care about you. Okay, here goes. Okay, it is cannot be. Oh. Sometimes I feel like I'm just an idiot. You know that? Sometimes I just feel like it. Or my head just slips, one or the other, you know. Now we're in business. Nice, there we go. That's what I wanted to see. Oh god. I think the only thing that we're missing is like a death sound. Yeah, that'd be really cool to add a death sound. And of course, we could add in like a decrease in time, which will then give us a bonus score, which is something we probably should do for later. But for now, I like this way it's going. Alright, I am happy with that. Okay, so what do we want to do next? What do we want to do next? I think that in this, we want to just add a little bit more what? I think we'll just add some form of, I don't know, some form of drag to the player's feet. That might probably be the easiest thing to add and also be fun. So we're going to add a particle system to the player. Actually, we don't want it to the, because the player, the actual object is on the ground, if I'm correct. So, actually no, what we're going to do is create an empty object on the player. We're going to call this trail, yeah. And then we're going to add a particle system here. Boom. We need to roll down to the bottom here. My thing's in the way. So let's drag you right here. Go over to our renderer. We're going to give it a default of our default particles. Seconds or speed, we want to set it at 0. And duration, lowest we can. Lifetime, lowest we can. Okay. So let's go with start lifetime, maybe 0.1 seconds. No, we don't want it 0.1 seconds. That's 0.01, 0.15. We'll figure that out. Let's start speed of, yeah, that should stay good. 0.2, 0.1. And then we also need to go over to shape. We want to set this to a box. Scale on Y. We're going to do this to maybe a 0.1. Yeah, there we go. We also want to go over to emissions. We can change this to like 100 if we really felt like it. Let's go to start color. I don't know, let's give it a, yeah, we'll do something like that maybe. We also want to do simulation space to world. So whenever we move this around, it's going to adjust. And our duration needs to be the lowest it can. Start lifetime 0.1. Okay, that should work. Okay, so I want to press play just to be able to see how this works. Because what we wanted to do is make it follow behind the player. So the trail should simply be like something that just falls off the player. So here we go. Okay, so we now have a trail. I feel like we need it to start big and then fade into small. Yeah, so let's do that. So we're going to grab our trail. We're going to just roll down a little bit and we're going to go over to size over lifetime. For this, we just want to do it start big, and then we're going to drop down into a small size. And actually, we want to do a curve, like so. We also want to do color over lifetime. And all we're going to do here is we're just going to change the alpha. So select the top. At the end, we want the alpha to 0. Pull this over here a little bit. Make it alpha 1. Perfect. And I think we can actually make this a little bit lighter. And let's also change the start size to maybe like a 0.3. Yeah. So now, let's select our player. Drag this back over here and override it for the grand finale. Yes, sir. We also need to get this in full screen so you guys can see it a little bit better. So we'll let the timer probably run out on the first one while I'm doing that. So maximize. We now have that trail, which is great. Okay. Perfect. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's definitely took me a little bit of time to be able to pull it off, but I mean, hey, you know what? That's the fun part about it. If you guys want to see more of these, just let me know inside the comment section below. I'll be happy to go and start developing more games just out of the blue. You know, they're really fun to get into. So yeah. Alright, I'll see you guys later. Bye.